So we're now at the halfway mark of the NBA season, and the Toronto Raptors are currently sitting with a 21-21 record. They're also currently the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference, and although they seem like a below average team right now when you look at their record and stuff, I honestly think this Raptor team is way better than what their record has been showing. And that has led me to make this video where I'll be giving 2 reasons as to why I think teams should be fearing the Toronto Raptors when it comes to playoff time or just in general. Before we get into the video though, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want to help me go over 3,000 subscribers, also drop a comment on this video as I do respond to all of my comments, and play that intro. First reason I think teams should fear the Toronto Raptors is the fact that this team has the potential to be one of the best defenses in the league right now. And you might be thinking, if the Raptors are so good on defense, why do they rank 19th in the league? And to answer that, I would say that this team has simply gone through way too many injuries to their key defenders. To name guys who have missed significant amount of time, Pascal Siakam has missed 12 games, OG Anunoby has missed 14 games, Scottie Barnes has missed 7 games, Gary Trent Jr. has missed 9 games, Precious Achiuwa has missed 9 games, Khem Birch, their best defensive center, has missed 19 games, and he's going to miss way more. Basically, all of their best defenders have missed a significant amount of time. And you might be thinking, oh, they only missed like 9 games, but we're only at the halfway mark of the season. 9 games is nearly a quarter of the season. I think if the Raptors were fully healthy all season, they would have definitely been better on defense and they would have been a top 10 defense in the league. But regardless, when you just look at the defensive talent on this team, they have the talent to lock down any team when they're fully healthy. All you have to do is look at the defensive players they have. They have Pascal Siakam, who's a versatile defender who can guard the perimeter and he can guard bigger players. He's 6'9", quick and athletic, perfect defender for the modern NBA. Gary Trent Jr. has been a solid defender this year as he's been way more improved, given way more effort on the side of the floor. He's also one of the leading players in deflections, and he's one of the league leaders in steals. He's definitely a solid defender, far from a liability. They also have OG Anunoby, who's one of the 10 best one-on-one defenders in the league. I trust him just as much as any player to go out and lock the opposing team's best wing. So that's definitely a valuable asset to have on your team, especially in the playoffs. He will be very, very important as the Eastern Conference is filled with a bunch of elite level wings. Yes, Scotty Barnes, who is just a rookie, is already a really good defender. He's a guy who can play a good off-ball defense and affect shots at the rim, and his one-on-one defense, sometimes he gets burned by like really quick players, but most players he can lock down. He can literally guard 4 positions on the court at a really good level. I won't lie, Luka Doncic got him a few times the other game, but just in general, Scottie Barnes is definitely a really good defender. And every single game, Precious Achiuwa has just been getting better on defense. To start the year, he was kind of suspect, but he's definitely been improving. But he hasn't been amazing this season, I won't lie, but he hasn't been horrible. Also, Precious is more versatile than most centers. He could guard the perimeter better than most centers due to his athletic and quickness. And then even off the bench, they have a guy like Chris Boucher, who's one of the best rim protectors in the whole NBA. And he's not really good at guarding big men one-on-one due to how skinny he is, but he can even guard perimeter players at an okay level. And he can alter shots at the rim at a good level. And even Fred VanVleet, even though he's like 6 foot tall, he's actually a really good defender when he puts in effort. He's just a really pesky player. You just look at how much good defenders are on this team. There's no way you can't think, if they're not fully healthy, that they're not one of the better defenses in the league. They literally don't have anyone on, they literally don't have anyone who plays consistent minutes that isn't above average defender. And they actually have a few elite defenders, because I think OG, Scottie Barnes, and Siakam, when they're fully tried, are elite defenders. And obviously in the playoffs, they're going to be trying. And as I said, the only reason their defense is ranked so terrible is because they have been dealing with a lot of injuries and just COVID protocol stuff. So they haven't been able to get their defensive chemistry right due to so much players being out. But playoff time, if they can be fully healthy, they're the perfect team to lock down a team like the Bucks. They have many defenders throughout Giannis. They They could put Siakam, Scottie Barnes, or even OG on Giannis, and then they could just put the rest on like Chris Middleton and Drew. Like put OG Anunoby on Chris, and then put Fred VanVleet or Gary Trent on Drew. When it comes to the Brooklyn Nets, who have all their crazy superstars, you could throw OG Anunoby at James Harden. You could put Pascal Siakam or Scotty Barnes on Kevin Durant. Then you could put Gary Trent Jr. or Fred VanVleet on Kyrie Irving. Those are all solid matchups. I'm not saying any of them are going to lock down any of those players, because there's no one in the league who can lock down James Harden, no one in the league who can guard Kevin Durant, no one in the league who can lock down Kyrie Irving, but they can do as good of a job as most players can. Honestly, the Raptors might have the best assortment of defenders in the NBA. They just haven't been able to put it together. But low-key, in the last 10 games like that every team has played, which is where the Raptors have been most healthy than they have been in a whole year, the Raptors have ranked 8th in the league in defense when they're fully healthy, which just shows how good they can be. The only weakness I would say with this team is the fact that I don't think they'd be able to guard a guy like Joel Embiid. They literally have no center like who's really good at one-on-one defense. Like Kem Birch is a good team defender, but he's not like some big strong guy like Marc Gasol. Like he's strong obviously, but I promise you Joel Embiid is just scoring on him every time. When it comes to perimeter defense, they're definitely one of the best, and I think they can be great, and that's just what makes me so excited for the future. The second reason you should fear this Toronto Raptors squad is the fact that they have multiple, and I mean multiple, guys who could just go out there and score the basketball. I'm not gonna lie, their biggest weakness with this Raptor team is the fact that they don't have that like go-to guy. They don't have a Kawhi Leonard. They don't have a superstar on their team. They don't even have a guy like Devin Booker who can create their own shot at an elite level. And I would say that's definitely this team's biggest weakness, but they do have a bunch of guys who could just score the ball, give you 15 to 20 points on any given night and on a consistent basis. First off, we got to talk about Fred VanVleet, who should definitely be an all-star this season. He's been absolutely going crazy, averaging 22 points along with 7 assists and 5 rebounds, shooting nearly 40% from 3. He's definitely been this team's best player. He has just had to hit so much big shots for them. He's been amazing, and he's a guy who teams should fear. He'll give you 20 points every single night. You also have to worry about Pascal Siakam, who low-key should be an all-star this season too, but I don't think he'll be one just because the Raptors aren't like winning enough. I don't think when you're the 10th seed you should get 2 all-stars unless like you have 2 superstars, but Siakam's definitely been playing at an all-star level. He's averaging 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 47% from the field, arguably having his best season. He's playing just as good as he was back in the 2019-2020 season. He's a guy who could give you buckets. I know in the past he did terrible in the playoffs. You would just hope that was a fluke and a one-time thing. And underratedly, OG Anunoby has taken a huge leap in his game. I know we were all expecting it, and he has done it. He's nearly a 20-point scorer, averaging 19 points and 5 rebounds so far this season on okay efficiency. He's kind of being the player we all thought he could be. He's a guy who could give you 20 points on any given night, which is clear by how much he's averaging. I'm not going to lie, he's a bit inconsistent, but he's still a threat on the court. He give you 20 points per game. That's literally 3 guys on this team who can give you 20 points per game, not randomly, but consistently. That definitely is a hard team to guard because most teams don't have that much players who can consistently give you 20 points. And then they have guys like Gary Trent Jr., who's averaging 16 points. He's not really an isolation player, but he's a guy who could give you 15 points just in the flow of the offense, being a catch and shoot player. And when he's on fire, he could be really on fire. Their rookie Scottie Barnes is actually a very good offensive player, way better than I thought he would be. I thought he just averaged like 8 points or something, but he's been averaging 14 points and 8 rebounds, shooting like nearly 50% from the field. He could give you 15 points on a consistent basis. He's actually way more skilled than I thought he would be coming to the league. He's a very good finisher at the rim, really good rebounder, good offensive rebounder. He can finish through contact. He's also very good in transition. He's actually scary in transition. He's actually also a really good mid-range shooter. I thought he was going to be a bad one. I just thought he wasn't going to be able to shoot at all, but he's shooting like fadeaways and step backs that are contested. And he's actually an inconsistent 3-point shooter, but sometimes he has games where he actually looks like a good one, which is a positive sign because that was his biggest weakness coming into the league. And then off the bench, they have Chris Boucher, who can randomly go out for 15 to 20 points if he gets on fire from 3. He's not really consistent, but still, I think you could expect like 8 to 10 points out of him off the bench. That's just a lot of guys who can give you 15 to 20 points. When it comes to their offensive rating, they're actually one of the best offenses in the league, despite them being very unhealthy. I think if they were healthy, they could be the 7th best offense if they're healthy all year. But regardless, every team hasn't been healthy, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. But playoff time, this is a team that is not easy to defend, as when this team has everyone clicking on all cylinders, that's a lot of players scoring in double digits, and it's hard for teams to game plan for a team that doesn't depend on just one player. The Raptors don't just depend on Vleet, they don't just depend on Pascal Siakam. They have many different guys who can go out there and give you 20 points and just have a big game for you. But to conclude the video, I am in love with the way the Raptors have been building their team. They have one of the most underrated young cores in the whole NBA. I just know the Raptors are going to go back to being one of the best teams in the league very, very soon. They have so much young achieving prospects. And as of right now, I think the Raptors at best will finish as like the 8th or 6th seed, which isn't entirely bad because of how much players like haven't reached their full potential. But I just know sooner rather than later, they're going to get a superstar type of player. Maybe they already have that superstar type of player in Scottie Barnes. I guess we'll have to see. But regardless, I don't think the Raptors are a team your favorite team is going to want to see, because when this team is fully like engaged on defense, they could be really scary, and on offense they could be scary if everyone's doing well. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know whether or not you think the Raptors are going to make the playoffs. Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want to know my goal of 3,000 subscribers, also drop a comment on this video as I do respond to all of my comments. Play that and drop.